It's almost like sandstone, really, I think, blackrocks.
Yeah.
It's halfway house between sandstone and grit. And yeah, but this is all old lead till. I like that. Etc.
Yeah, for some reason blackrocks is always, you know, risen to the top. Like Bourbon South has done the same as well.
Yeah.
It's funny how certain crags sort of do that.
Yeah.
And I know where the next levels are as well on this crag, but that's for people to find, I think, rather than to tell. It's a big sloper, and then you wing your hand up really fast, and as you do it, you sort of whiz your foot from right to left, and as it's whizzing left to right, it just makes the foothold grip up a little bit. Oh, nice. And as you twist up, you grab the hole, but when you grab it, it makes the sloper become crap, and so you need to just jog up a bit and swing your foot back. Okay. So it was quite, there weren't many moves like, I can't think of another move that was like that at the time, really. And then after that, you're suddenly like launched into this scary, I'd have the groove, so I knew the arete stuff, but I didn't know the exit. Right, okay. So it was a mixture. And also, I didn't think I'd be able to do the move, so I was suddenly committed on it. Yeah, yeah. Bob and I had quite a nasty sleep. I think we slept on a really cold floor at Grinderford Calf, if I remember rightly. Yeah. So we were feeling sort of pretty blown out. Johnny Redhead's dog was here, called Ocker. I was digging a hole underneath like a grave, as it said in Stowe Monkey. Oh, but you know, I used to come and I've been looking at this line since 1983, so I was intimate with it inside out. I'd do it a lot. If I was having a bath, I'd climb it in my mind. So when I came here and I had enough grip to do it, and I felt sort of psyched enough, you know, eventually when I did Kaluza Klein on Robin Hood Stride, and then I did Dharma, I sort of thought, this flagged itself up. The routes would sort of tell me that I was ready for them, really, and then I'd turn up and try them. Was this traverse here. So it starts in that group and then finishes on the erect called Speedy Gonzales. Really interesting, you hang off a tow hook and get a smear, and it's very horizontal in certain places. You come off that pocket, go across into that pocket, rearrange your hands and feet, get a tow hook. Your right foot goes in some terrible little dimple here. Let's move my head around like that. You can sort of see it pop out, hopefully. There. You come into the side pulls like that, and then drop your foot down somewhere here. Isn't it funny bouldering? Like you do something, you work at it, and then you do it, it's all right. You think it's X, Y, or Z grade. You come back to something absolutely horrendous.
yeah.
All your weight's on that, so it's just a case. I think you've got like that one, and the other one comes in and grabs maybe here, 7B or something. And this amazing dyno out of here that I once did the move, but I never couldn't do the top move, I don't think. But devil is in the details. Yeah, Tom Briggs did this amazing route. One of my best walks. It goes down and then goes across that incredibly green, scary rock, up onto that little ridge with a foot jam, and then it jumps across onto that block and then disappears into the slot. That's a real belter. One of the on-site ones I did with my chiropractor, I talked to yesterday, Matt Pigden. You come across from the gully and you come across and into Gaia. Really nice, like E4 or something. Put a sling up on that big sort of witchy block on the right. Yeah, the other walk comes across onto the ridge of curving arete from the right and walks up the ridge. It's really scary to do because the ab rope that you're using is in the wrong place. There's a thing back in the 70s and early 80s, the golden hour of power. Sometimes you get moments when you could do something that you can't really do. And I always took it seriously that was a real thing. And occasionally it did actually happen. One of the best times was this wall here. It's good golden days, goes up the
the step cracks there. That face to the right, the one with the brown streak and the black streak, I once got my feet over the lip of that first overlap in 1982 in EBs. And I just don't know how I did it now when I go and look at it. You want to come and look at it? So it's got no bloody holes on it. They're all really interesting. There's a possible run-up problem. You know, if you put carpet down here, you could probably run up and catch the side pulls.
What the fuck were you holding?
I know exactly what you're saying. So it was here. There's an undercling in here. There's one here. There. And your foot goes. There's a little dish here. I mean, it's fucking hard, isn't it? There. That's it. That one. See that one?
Oh yeah, bomb of that, mate. Yeah.
Well, sort of, yeah. And that one and that one. And then I got.
You got something there.
See that little ridge there?
Yeah.
And I got these, and I got my foot up. I got my foot up on here.
When you say got these,
Huh?
when you say got these, what do you mean where? Because I can't see anything on that.
It's a good question, you know. It's a good question.
that
but
dimple?
I remember I had my foot on this, and then my foot skidded off.
That's crazy. Thumbs dimple.
But you know, if somebody told me this, I'd say they were bullshitting, because it looks really ridiculous, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's the thing about bouldering, isn't it? You can train hard, get really strong, get really, really light, but there's something. I know people call it low gravity days, don't they?
Yeah. That's
Now.
what you're describing, isn't it? Yeah.
Another one I've done the moves on is coming out to this thing and doing. That's got an amazing undercut double like that to the top.
Is that climbing out from golden days?
Well, I did the top bit. I was trying to remember just now while we're talking whether or not I did this move across. And I think I did this, and I got a flag, but I don't think I ever actually shared.
Yeah.
But you know, I can't remember. There is that terrible pebble. Do you know, it's really nice to get to a stage where I'm sort of past it enough I don't have to bother.
Yeah.
It's quite nice. Yeah, the thought of actually having to do all the work to get really... I mean, I'm doing a bit of fitness. It'd be interesting to see how far I get again. Around the side is the famous famous velvet silent slab. So I think Gabriel Regan did it first, or Johnny Woodward. I'm not sure. There was just that one, so that was given E6C, I think, and comes across to the erect and goes up the rear. Really beautiful positions on it. And then a bit later on, I cleaned up this central line, which has got sort of, there's been two versions of it. People have ended up right of the crease and left of the crease. And the one I did was left of the crease. So I think Katie Whitaker did it further right, which really she should name because it's a different route in my view. Or even though that they overlap like this, the sequence is really different. And then I also did this one that goes left past that pebble called Jumping on a Beetle, because it's named after in Yosemite. I thought this is quite Yosemite, and it reminded me of that. The bears used to jump out of the trees onto the top of VW Beetles because they knew it popped the doors, which is bloody clever. And then they would be able to eat the food inside. Well, I really can't remember, but we were just hanging out and playing a lot of Super Mario Kart. Sort of a classic sort of student bad behaviour sort of period in my life where I'd kind of given up a bit, but I was also climbing a lot and not eating very much. So I was quite light, and I just abseiled down this out of interest because it has this amazing crease on it. And the brilliant thing is that the crease is just enough to do the move. If it wasn't there, for me, I couldn't do the move. I gathered lots of sticks and stuff and tried to just cover up these rocks a bit. And we were doing quite a lot of renovation on the house, so some of the builders I was working with came with me on that day. And one of them's quite tall and strong. Steve Pete, the mountain biker's brother, he could jump and spin around a pole. He'd get his jacket off, run up to a pole, and then swing around it, and he could go up the pole.
So when you were taking falls off it, was it?
No, I didn't fall off it. I top roped it, and then I did it.
Right,
first
so you never
go.
came off it. You did.
No. For me, it was. I always thought it was E9. you know, I had to do this sort of like quick padding with my feet. So while I was doing this with my body, my feet were doing the opposite. So I was going, I'd be going like in pad, duh, duh, and then up and on a mantle like this. And it took such a lot of time to work out that I spent sort of 99% of the liqueur went through the roof. But 1%, you know, was embedded in the sequence on the rock. The angel share is what goes through the roof of the brandy refinery.
Right,
that's called the angel share. So that's what it's named after.
And that is, he said he met you and described it as 4D slab climbing, and he said he really felt like you understood that.
Definitely. I mean, if you're not moving the right way, you can't make the grip. There's not enough basic grip in the rock. You've got to do a lizard scamper while you're doing that. And so somehow, if you dial it too much, you peel off. If you don't do enough, you skid. And you've got to be really clear about what you're doing. There's basically 3 moves in a row for me to do this. I always thought it was one of the few things I did that was sort of 8A Fontainebleau in a dangerous position. So that ledge down there,
Yeah.
you run along that as fast as you can. You sort of bounce into the wall, run, you kick a smear. There's one little bit of that ripple that's good enough to give you some height, and you land on that hole with both your fingers. Build your feet up and do like a V. It's about a V7 probably. The once you're on it,
Yeah.
but the jump across is really quite hard. And also, you see the spike. There, you throw and lasso that spike to start the route. So it's a top rope route.
Yeah.
But it feels spooky though when you jump. You just feel like it's going to come off. It's called the bounder. Gets E1 for some reason in the guide.
E1.
E1 7A, yeah. It's probably not many people's first E1, I wouldn't think. Yeah, so up here you've got a beautiful view of an old route called Stonish Crack from 1896 that goes up that crack there. And yet round the corner you've got Meshuggah, you know, which is one of the first D9s. And these were the other sort of groundbreaking routes on blackrocks. So I just wanted to show you these. Shall we look at Meshuggah and then go and have a cup of tea?
That sounds excellent.
Oh, God. It does put the fear of God into you, blackrocks.
That's fucking terrifying.
I think I abbed it, and then thought I can't do that. So New Gresham grounded out off it, didn't he?
Yeah, it felt like bounced down here.
Oh my God.
It's amazing how people haven't hurt themselves so much on grit.
Do you think people are pretty tougher than you think? Like, do you reckon you can take bigger falls than you think, or
No,
you don't?
no. I just think that your capacities as a human being, if you're really tuned in,
Yeah.
are more than you think.
To prevent that.
And some people, they just sort of know that it's there and go for it anyway. Nick's a bit like that.
Yeah.
And I think some of the best gritstone climbers are not the sort of sung ones. They're some of the, you know, like Tim Clifford. Tim was quietly doing incredible stuff. And Adam Long's incredible.
Ben Bransby always seems
I was just going to say Ben. Yeah.
Rolly, by the way, is perfect.
Right, let's